Hey guys, welcome to my channel. 2 days ago I counted, and so far I have collected more than 110 orchids. Varieties of orchids include Phalaenopsis, Oncidium, Camellia, Dendrobium, Paphiopallium, Cymbidium, Schomburgkia, Vanda, Rhynchostylus, etc. So in this video, I wanted to share with you where I bought these orchids and what the prices were. In mid-January this year, I purchased several orchids online. These orchids were mailed from upstate New York to Pennsylvania. The area which the post passed through was in the dead of winter. The temperature was -6 Celsius at night and around 2 Celsius during the daytime. After receiving my orchids, I found that the Dendrobium orchid which I had purchased had no roots. So in this video, let's talk about precautions for buying orchids online in winter and how to deal with orchids without roots. If you like this video, please thumbs up, leave a comment, and share with more friends. Our channel focuses on gardening, houseplant cultivation, and floral handicrafts, and also publishes some pet videos. If you are interested in any of these and have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. We will have more free, useful, and relaxing videos in the future. Ways of purchasing orchids vary greatly from region to region. I will talk about the situation in America where we live. The easiest way to buy orchids here is to visit nearby chain stores like Walmart, Giant, Home Depot, or Wegmans. Local garden centers like Stouffer's are also a good place to look. However, many of these shops will mainly sell food and daily necessities. So the orchids which they sell are limited to the very common Phalaenopsis. I bought this purple flowering Vanda at the Home Depot. This is really rare as Home Depot rarely sells varieties other than Phalaenopsis. The local garden center mainly sells outdoor and indoor plants, and the orchids are also mainly Phalaenopsis. The second way to buy orchids is from a nearby greenhouse that specializes in orchids. I have been to 2 orchid shops. One is a half-hour drive and the other is in New Jersey, a 3-hour drive. There are no growers or vendors near our house who specialize in orchids. Therefore, the disadvantage of this method is that the establishments which specialize in orchids are not common, especially in colder areas or near cities where real estate is expensive, as this combine to make the cost of building and heating a greenhouse so high that it becomes unprofitable. You may need to drive long distances. The advantage is that such an orchid shop offers a variety of orchids, even relatively rare ones. We can also approach the growers and ask for any tips on cultivating orchids. The price of orchids at such establishments is moderate to high. The third possible source is private greenhouses. Some orchid lovers will grow a lot of orchids, and they will build a greenhouse next to their home, dedicated to growing orchids. They also sell some orchids to the outside world. The advantage of this channel is that it is affordable. Because their greenhouse is less well known, customer traffic is relatively small. Therefore, the price is relatively cheap compared to large growers. They also sell different varieties of orchids in which a grower specializes. The disadvantage is that their scale is not that large, and some orchids are also collections specimens will not be up for sale. The fourth possible channel is the orchid exhibition. Orchid shows are usually held in spring from February to April, during peak blooming times. and are often organized by local orchid societies. An orchid show brings together regional and even global merchants, so there will be many varieties of orchids for sale. You can communicate with different professionals to learn about their experience growing orchids. The disadvantage is that the customer traffic is very high and the supply is short. If you arrive a little late, your favorite orchid might have already been sold. Therefore, some business will also take the opportunity to raise prices. The fifth is to buy orchids online. This offers the customer with a wide range of possible choices. You can buy only your favorite orchids. If the grower is located in a tropical region where growing conditions are ideal, then the price will also be very cheap. The downside of this is that the orchids need to be mailed and may be damaged during shipping. Now, let me share with you my experience of buying orchids online and some useful tips of shipping orchids in winter. I purchased these orchids online in January. One oncidium, one dendrobium, and one subotara. The vendor gave me another orchid for free. As for the packaging, these orchids were surrounded in bubble wraps. In addition to protecting the orchids from physical damage, the bubble wrap also functions as insulation. There is a heating pad inside, which continuously generates heat during transportation to ensure that the orchid is not frozen, and the bubble wrap prevents this heat from dissipating. After I received my orchids, the heat pad was still warm. Orchids, by and large, are tropical plants and cannot endure hard freezes, so precautions like these are necessary. Let's examine the orchids one by one. This is dendrobium. The Latin name is Dendrobium lindleyi. This orchid has almost no roots. When I bought it, I assumed that this orchid would be growing on a bark slab. I really did not expect that there was no mature root system. The leaves and pseudobulbs are fine though. So this orchid should be able to expand its stored energy to grow roots and fasten to our mound, and then its roots will grow in the air. Overall, I'm a little surprised but not worried at all. The other three orchids were mailed with growing media and flower pots, which presents no problems since the packaging is good. The flower pots were sealed with tape, and the planting material did not leak. The oncidium and subotara have bloomed, though some flowers were squashed during transportation. The oncidium flowers are slightly better because the flowers are smaller. The flower of the subotara orchid was completely deformed and could not be recovered. These orchids, which I have been growing for over a month now, are growing very well. This shows that it is possible to buy orchids online in winter, even in cold climates. People buy orchids online during the winter mainly because it is a primary blooming season for most of them. Here I will summarize the precautions which you should take while shopping online for orchids in winter. First of all, when buying, the temperature should not be too low. Pay attention to the weather forecast and try to ensure that the temperature is kept above 0 Celsius during the mailing process. The minimum temperature can be -6 Celsius. Before buying, contact the seller and ask them to put a heat pack or two in the package. The number of heating packs can be determined by looking at the time required for mailing and the temperature. Lower shipping routes and lower temperatures will require more heat packs. Secondly, try to choose a quicker mailing method in order to shorten the time required for mailing as much as possible. Finally, when buying orchids, try to choose orchids with buds that have not yet bloomed. Blooming orchids are easily crushed during the mailing process, thus deforming the flowers and damaging their ornament appeal. Orchids with buds, because the flowers have not yet opened, will usually not suffer from deformation. After receiving it, we can enjoy the beautiful flowers after only a few days of care. The Dendrobium orchid which I received had very few mature roots. Let's take a look at how to grow orchids in this condition. Dendrobium orchids can generally be planted in pots or fixed to a bark mount, where the roots are exposed to the air to grow. Here we use a wooden basket with some coconut fiber in it and a few corks. After drinking wine, you can save the corks to grow orchids, as natural cork is created by punching it out of spongy tree bark. This wooden basket, which comes in different sizes, is generally used to grow orchids whose roots can be exposed to the air, such as Vanda, Rhynchostylus, Camellia, Dendrobium, and so on. Place the orchid on the cork and secure it with nylon mesh or other string. The orchid must be anchored so that the root system can grow undisturbed. If it is not fixed properly, the orchid roots will be damaged as it shifts. Overall, this cultivation method is simple, and we can directly observe the growth state of the root system after planting. As long as you have good airflow, rotting roots are much less of a concern when it comes to mounted orchids. After attaching the orchid to its mount, spray water on the leaves and roots every morning during the growing season. If the temperature is high in summer, you can spray water once in the morning and evening. It is best to maintain the humidity at about 70% to prevent orchids from becoming overly dehydrated. We have been growing this orchid for over a month now, and you can see that it has grown a lot of roots now. Growth is pretty good. Alright, in this video we introduce some ways to buy orchids and precautions of buying orchids online in winter. At the same time, a different method of planting Dendrobium was also shared. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you like this video, please thumbs up and share it with more flower-loving friends. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time.